Hey all, here are OS Reviews. Today we're taking a closer look at the Lavanda Lune. These are TWS wireless buds with active noise cancellation that start at around 80 bucks, making them relatively affordable. Great to see ANC trickle down onto more and more buds at a lower price than they used to be just a year or two ago. Anyways, these also offer an audio transparency mode or ambient mode that can reversely magnify the sound around you so you can have a conversation without removing these. And the ANC claims to cancel up to 45 decibels, which is one of the highest metrics I've seen yet. Battery life is rated to last up to 45 hours with the battery case, which is actually pretty good. It's above average. In fact, with ANC turned off, the buds can last up to 9 hours per use, which is pretty incredible. One of the longest metrics I've seen. Typical buds like Apple AirPods, Redmi AirDots can only last around 3 hours or so. So you don't have to charge these as often. You can use it for a longer listening session. With ANC on, the number drops to about 5 hours per charge, but then the battery case can still give you a few extra charges when you're traveling. Now, these do have IP66 water resistance, so you can use them when you're taking a shower, when you're in the rain, or going to the gym and have a bit of sweat, and they should still survive. Other accessories in the top compartment include a USB Type-C charging cable, along with spare sets of silicone tips to get a more comfortable fit, and also the user manual. Taking a closer look at the design of the battery case, it's constructed out of a polycarbonate plastic, but otherwise feels relatively solid, doesn't feel too cheap or hollow. Size-wise, it's very comparable to other TWS buds we've seen in the past, including Redmi's AirDots, as well as Apple AirPods, are all quite similar in terms of overall size and weight. The door here is magnetic, and once you open it up, it automatically turns on and starts to connect to your device, so it's very fast to pair. The inside here is also made out of a soft-touch rubber material that kind of presses down on the buds to make sure they can get a tight contact with the case to quickly charge them up. As you can see here, we do have some accents on the top of the buds, which can glow red as well as blue when you're connected to your device. It's also where they probably got the name from, the Lune, because it will remind you of the sliver of a crescent moon because of the shape. So kind of clever there. Otherwise, the back here just has the USB Type-C port for charging, and that is it. These buds do support SBC and AAC audio codecs, but they don't use a Qualcomm chipset, so there is no support for aptX, for instance, but at this low price, overall I'd say it is still acceptable, comparable to other lower-cost ANC buds we've seen recently. The buds themselves do have kind of a glossy shine to them, so it's pretty sleek to look at, but does attract fingerprints and smudges. Sometimes you should wipe it down. And on the rear here, we do have a soft touch coating, which provides some more resistance and also hides fingerprints and dust more easily. Otherwise, it has a pretty conventional ergonomic tilt, and they are quite comfortable when I was wearing them. They felt pretty snug. Even as I was moving around or shaking my head, they stayed in place. Comfort was also quite good. I could wear them for extended hours and didn't really notice too much stress or strain. So overall, good. In terms of the fit. Here's a quick contrast with regular AirPods as well as with Redmi's AirDots to give you an idea of how they stack up in size. So I would say they are pretty similar to other buds we've seen, despite packing in pretty large batteries inside, again lasting for around 9 hours per charge. These are relying on touch controls, so you can gently tap once on the left side to activate the ANC, tap again to go into the audio transparency mode, and then tap again to exit out of it to be in the normal listening mode. And then the right side, you can tap once to play and pause your music, and double tap to skip tracks. But what it means is, by default, you can't adjust the volume directly on these. We only have the ANC controls, as well as skip track and answering phone calls. So that is one feature that would have been nice to have, but you can also change that by using your phone or bring up the voice assistant. Moving into performance and audio quality, overall the Lunes surpassed my expectations as far as affordable buds are concerned. The soundstage itself actually is pretty wide and dynamic, so we have plenty of detail, whether it's bass, which is pretty thumpy, especially as you're listening to a drum beat. As something hits, you can definitely feel it kind of vibrate. It's one of the more bass-heavy pair of buds I tried, but it still feels controlled, and at the same time, plenty of details in the mids and also the trebles. Everything remains clear without any hints of static or hissing in the background, thanks to the 9.2mm drivers built on in, which are slightly larger than the typical pair of buds that are using 5 or 6mm. It does pack fairly nuanced sound, and it sometimes gives you the sensation that you're wearing larger headphones and sounds very spacious. Latency is just average, however. These don't have a dedicated gaming mode, and again, it doesn't have aptX supported, which means that if you're expecting the absolute lowest for things like gaming, you'll probably be a little bit disappointed, but for things like watching back YouTube videos, the audio and video are still synced together quite well. Didn't have any problems in terms of watching a movie on these and still enjoying it, and of course, listening to music, no problems there. When it comes to the ANC component, I'm actually quite impressed. They're one of the strongest pairs I've tried yet for sub $100 ANC buds in terms of their effectiveness in blocking out noise, especially for lower frequency sounds like engines if you're in a car or if there's a fan of a computer. It completely eliminates those noises and gives you just the music that you're listening to, helping you concentrate and listen to music at a lower volume. So it definitely makes a difference, getting close to what Sony offers on their ANC buds, which is still one of the strongest, I would say, out of these smaller wearables. Although some human voices and higher frequency sounds will still seep through, but it does a very good job. It's comfortable, doesn't add too much stress, and really does eliminate a lot of those lower frequency sounds. The audio transparency mode also works above average in terms of really amplifying the sound around you so you can have a real conversation. So I'm glad to see on these they work correctly, and they're a comfortable feature, really matching the experience you'll get from AirPods in that sense. So overall, transparency and ANC are both definitely above average and do work as expected. So that's more or less it as far as our hands-on review of the Lavanda Lune. Overall, for sub $100 ANC TWS buds, the active noise cancelling component is one of the strongest I've tried yet. So if you want something that can help you block out noise, this is going to be a good option. Sound quality is also surprisingly detailed and dynamic, giving you great reproduction of acoustic tracks, instrumentals, bass boosted tracks. It all sounds quite good and clean on these. The overall kind of battery life is another strength, again lasting over 5 hours with ANC or 9 hours with ANC turned off is on the longer side of the spectrum. So this is a endurance champion in that sense, which is great to see. Of course, there's still a few weaknesses, like the fact it doesn't have aptX, and also there's no volume controls directly on them, but if you can live with those slight quirks, I think that this is going to be a great pair to take a closer look at if you want something with good sound and good ANC at an affordable price. So you can check out more details if you're interested in the links down below, but for now that's been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews. That's been the Lavanda Lune Active Noise Cancelling TWS Buds.